It's 21 minutes past 6 o'clock here on the programme. Yesterday, the Presiding Officers of Parliament announced the postponement of the State of the Nation address. In its own statement, the Presidency says the request comes due to certain developments which would not make it conducive to successfully hold the sitting and deliver the SONA. Right, let's cross live to our reporter, Lukhanyo Calata. He's outside the Parliamentary Precinct. Lukhanyo, a very good morning to you. And this is an unprecedented moment in the history of South Africa, isn't it?
Hi, good morning, Leanne. Yes, indeed. Uncharted waters that I think we as a country and Parliament find ourselves in. Imagine who could have thought a week ago, Leanne, that we would be sitting here saying that the State of the Nation address has been postponed. In light of the press briefing that we had from the presiding officers, NA Speaker Baleka Mbete and NCOP Chairperson Thandi Modise, who were so adamant about a week ago that SONA will proceed. It doesn't matter who the president is or that will deliver the State of the Nation address, that will proceed. But yesterday, all of that changed. So it's a new day in Cape Town, so we await to see just what exactly this day will bring for us. Leanne?
Yeah, and I tell you, Lukhanyo, yesterday it brought so much news. And I mean, just standing in the Parliamentary Precinct, I can imagine that all journalists were just trying to grasp at straws, because at this point, that's all you're doing. You're relying on whatever is coming out of those doors and whoever comes out there to relay this news. What was the immediate reaction? I mean, was it expected that the SONA would be delayed? Because we were told that this is going ahead by the Speaker herself, and suddenly the change of tune.
Leanne, we're speaking to the Speaker at about 7:15, so we will ask her exactly what brought on this change of heart from her and Thandi Modise. Yesterday, I think, immediately after the announcement, the political parties that we spoke to, they were saying that, look, this is exactly what they had called for in that meeting with the presiding officers, because they were saying that we can't, while there's this uncertainty within the ANC as to whether or not President Jacob Zuma is going, we can't then come to Parliament and have him deliver the State of the Nation address only for him to be changed a day, a week, or maybe a month later as President of the Republic. So, yes, the mood was very expectant, but I think for us as journalists, it's been such a rapidly changing news cycle, because I can't tell you and say, you know what, Leanne, we expect that this and this will happen by 8 o'clock, because by 7:30 everything could have changed. So we definitely are just trying to keep up and keep our heads above water. Leanne?
Lukhanyo, in terms of the different responses, so initially what it was said was that Mbete said that she was going to write to the President to ask for the postponement. The next second we saw that the President had written to Parliament to say, I think it's best if we postpone this. Who decided first?
Leanne, as I said, I think let's wait for the Speaker when we speak to her in about an hour's time for us to get clarity as to exactly who blinked first, because we just don't know. Was it an independent decision that was made by the presiding officers after having had the meeting with political parties? Was it a request that came from the office of the President to say, please postpone? Was it a request that came from Luthuli House that says, hey guys, please consider doing this? So we don't know, and unless we have either Baleka Mbete or Thandi Modise take us into their confidence and explain to us, you and I, we can keep going around in circles. But I think we are speaking to the Speaker a little bit later on this morning. And that's definitely one of the questions that we'll pose to her.
Yeah, indeed. And I think you have got that right, because that's what I have been seeing, is that since yesterday, everybody's been speaking in circles. In fact, it gets dangerous, because then you start seeing fake news start coming out, rearing its ugly head, and people start reporting on this. And then there are worries. But we won't even get into that to avoid confusion amongst our viewers of stories that are making the rounds that shouldn't be. My question to you, however, is obviously you follow all the parliamentary calendars, and this is going to have obviously an effect on the issues. But what they have promised us is that we should see SONA within a week. It should be held, which mustn't affect the budget, because the budget is scheduled for the 21st of this month as well.
Knock-on effects. I mean, the fact that the State of the Nation has now been delayed obviously has got a knock-on effect on the program of Parliament, at least for the first term, because obviously there were certain things that were supposed to have happened. The debates into SONA, when does that now take place? We then need to have budget, as you correctly pointed out. We can't postpone the budget because otherwise we'll find ourselves in a position where departments can't spend money, where departments haven't been allocated monies to spend. So there's a lot is riding on this, and I think the Speaker, Baleka Mbete, when we do speak to her a little bit later this morning, will definitely have to answer at least on the question of whether or not they are debating next week as a possible date, and we'll try and push for a date, Leanne, because I think it's important also, for the caterers, for instance, for them to know that, okay, we now need to put in our orders so that we know that food must be delivered on X and this date. Airlines that were supposed to come in, bringing people from all around the country, those air tickets would have been booked. A hotel accommodation, that would have been booked.
Indeed,
so I think now with everything up in the air, there's a lot of uncertainty that I think can only be addressed by Speaker Baleka Mbete and her possibly putting a date forward on when the State of the Nation address will be delivered.
Right. We wait for that conversation, Lukhanyo, that you'll have with Madam Speaker Baleka Mbete. That'll happen in the next hour. Thank you. We'll cross to you once again. That's Lukhanyo Calata. He's, of course, our parliamentary correspondent there in Cape Town. Right.